decision that then said, the team has managed to stabilize political killings in KwaZulu-Natal. And I think as a structure, together with the DGs, including the National Commissioner, then they would have said that there's no further requirement for the PKTT. I gave an example of a project in one of the provinces where that assessment was reached and a decision to decommission was taken. And again, as you decommission, then you take care of specific elements that requires extension and you disband those that don't require extension.
Okay, so you say you have solicited a threat analysis against a police officer who was testifying in a high-profile corruption case. After the security assessment, the risk assessment, security assessment, whatever it is, you then managed to get the police officer and the family protected. So was this the complaint against you at IPID? Was it related to that?
It was related to that.
Who was the complainant?
General Sibiya.
General Sibiya complained.
Yes. Complained. I think he said that there was fraud committed in my office because these members actually, they were said to be protecting him. And another allegation was that I'm surveilling him using these same members. I remember I spoke to NATCOM to say, are you aware of this particular matter? And National Commissioner said to me, yes. So I told him, but are you aware that this is the matter about Captain M? And he said, no. I said, yes, General. So for me, I don't know where the misunderstanding was in relation to that.
Do you think it was a misunderstanding?
For me, it was, because for me, General Sibiya had just come into the organization. And I think in matters like these, executives, let NATCOM call us and then discuss. And instead of, I work with you directly. And how do we then move forward? You open a case against my office. There's no suspect. You say that the suspect will be picked up as they investigate, you know. So maybe as a person who actually was pro-teamwork, I felt really offended, and I thought that it was uncalled for.
Do you think IPID has been weaponized? Yeah, sorry if I put in a corner.
Yeah, it is a corner.
I'm asking because we've received numerous allegations about IPID since we've started this work.
Maybe I can respond to it this way, Honorable Nqola. I actually think that the law enforcement agencies could be weaponized, not only IPID.
No, I'm specifically asking about IPID because we have received numerous testimonies that are directed to IPID.
Can I take it to me personally? I've never had an incident where probably I had an issue with IPID being weaponized.
Do you think that your current case at IPID was it a genuine complaint against a police official, or General Sibiya is trying to weaponize IPID to fight battles between you and him? Just be frank. We're here for that.
I wouldn't say no, but I would not be informed.
So there is a possibility that there's a weaponization of IPID.
For me, there is.
Okay, thank you. So you were dancing at a party with Mr. Matala. He testified here and said he only went to, is it the same part of the engagement of the General Sibiya's son?
I think it is. I didn't go during the day, during the ceremony, but I came later. So that's why I
Okay, when you were invited on what?
There was
you are hereby cordially invited to attend this and that.
There was no formal invite. He just said he's got a ceremony at home and he would like for us to attend. Yeah, Saturday,
okay. So under oath, Mr. Matala testified that he only went there to pick up his wife. You sat next to his wife.
Yes.
Did you notice him her being heavily drunk such that she can't drive?
No,
So it was, according to you, according to observation, it's not true.
my observation was that she was sober, she was engaging, and she didn't come to me across as a person who was intoxicated.
Okay. And what was your observation on Mr. Matlala? Was he part of the guest invited or he was a passerby?
You know, Honorable Nqola, ne, in the spur of this moment, because General Tema only pointed him to me, and if I was sitting this way and he was standing over there, he was just standing. I didn't even pay attention to what he was doing, but he actually was a guest because yeah, for me, he looked like a
So
person who
it's
was-
not true that he went as a passerby to pick up Mrs. Matlala. Okay. You're saying there are trust and uncomfortable issues between you and General Sibiya. What's causing that? Because you are working in the same office, for God's sake.
I will start by his testimony at Madlanga Commission when he was asked, and he did accede that he's a person who really like changes, you know, his emotions are not constant. With General Sibiya, he is a very good operative, you know, but he can change today. Let me start it from the beginning. When he was appointed as DNC, I was the only person not invited to his celebration, and I think celebrations after that. General Khumalo and others would go. Then later on, General Khumalo doesn't come. Now I'm invited, you know. So you would think that actually you are working and then suddenly then he changes. Now this is where tradecraft comes in. Then you need to, employ your defensive.
What makes you uncomfortable with General Sibiya?
His ever changing mood, and I think his approach to you as a person, you know, and the fact that today you can be in his good books and you're working well, and then tomorrow suddenly something happened and you wouldn't know. He wouldn't engage and say, General Senthumule, I am concerned. There are the issues.
But you attended a number of
His
Sibiya's parties.
As I clarified just now, that initially I was not a guest, but when things turned south with General Khumalo, then I now was an attendee.
But you always ensure that there is company on you when you attend.
You know, I'm not one to mix work with pleasure.
Then
But I
why
think
do you go to parties?
it-
Because
I
parties
think
are
in
a leisure.
yes, in the spirit of building a team, we were crime detection. General Khumalo and General
So you
Sibiya,
were detecting crime at parties.
no, definitely not, Honorable. It was just in the spirit of building a team and supporting a colleague.
But a colleague you are uncomfortable with and you are not trusting.
And I would never be comfortable with. I have never been comfortable with.
Okay. Divisional Commissioner, Detectives and Forensic Services. Do you accept that it was highly irresponsible of you to facilitate a transfer of dockets you don't know what they contain?
No.
Okay.
In this environment, we work on a need-to-know basis. And I think when it comes to certain entities, when a case is opened at a station, it is opened on the subsystem. However, for DPCI and IPID, they already have functions on the system where a docket can be moved over to them. But with IDEC, it's only now that we are working on that particular,
So you mean it was responsible for you to transfer dockets to IDEC without you knowing what they contain?
if I could be a
Even
suspect.
if it would have been a treasonous act.
Yes, I could be a suspect in those dockets. And I think it's not about IDEC. It's about the principle of need to know. If I need to know, somebody would tell me. But normally, let's say my son is a suspect, my husband is a suspect. So sometimes, and I think I've learned from intelligence, if you compartmentalize, if you need to know, you definitely would need to know. And again, if you go to the section 28, particularly.
But General Senthumule, you didn't even know how many dockets we're talking about.
There were 4.
You said there were 4, but you later discovered that there were actually 6 or 9. I
There
don't
were
know.
7, yeah,
7.
yes.
So do you now accept that it was irresponsible of you of transferring police information to a different institution at NPA without you knowing the number of the dockets taken, without you knowing what is contained in that docket?
I would still remain with my answer, Honorable, that in my capacity as the DevCom, I did not have to know the contents of the dockets. And transferring dockets for me, it's not about police information. It is actually law enforcement information. So if IDEC writes it down and says, these are our dockets, I am not the one to say. no,
Where
they
were
are
these
not.
dockets kept?
They were in General Jacob's office.
Safe.
In his safe, yes.
Where do you normally keep dockets?
Dockets are kept at a station.
Why were they in a safe at someone's office?
And I think that that's what General Jacob.
Are these dockets the dockets of Honorable Adams?
I checked yesterday, sorry.
So it's Honorable Adams' case that was
Yes.
kept in a safe.
Yes.
Do you think that he is justified to think that you were sabotaging his cases?
Not his cases, he was not the IO. As you can see, the dockets actually
Is the
belong.
complainant. That's the point. He went to open cases, 3 police stations. He went to. And he says to us, he was testifying, he's still going to testify today. He was testifying that he has went to 3 police stations on the basis that he felt that you, police of South Africa, are sabotaging him. That's the reason he even went to an extent of going to IDEC. And you come here and confirm that the dockets he opened a case on at police stations were kept in a safe of someone's office, not where dockets usually get kept at SAPS.
I was not part of any sabotage, and I think I wouldn't accede to that. And I would agree with you, and I did say this over and over again, the dockets are not supposed to be kept in general's offices.
Okay, you did your medical operation on the 16th of October, 2023.
Yes.
On the same day in your bank account, you received 13,500 and you received 70,000 rands. What was the source of that money? The same day.
It was not receiving, let me clarify.
Beg your pardon?
I beg your pardon?
It was not what?
It was not receiving. Those statements means it's money that has gone out.
Okay.
As I explained, and I gave all the evidence to the evidence leader. Part of the money came from my police bonus. That's the 13,500. You can see on the statement, the amount is more, but when that money goes down, the amount goes less. But on the same day, from my credit card, I transferred 80,000 into my African bank account. And on the same day, that money went into my check account. So the 7,000 you see, it's the money that came into that account. Then on the same day, it went to pay General, Dr. Pett. So there is trace of the money. It never came from anywhere.
Dr. Pett is the responsible doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's passed on. She's passed on. God rest.
She's passed on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, may her soul rest in peace. Lastly, do you know the extent of the relationship between Mr. Nqola and General Sibiya?
I don't.
You work together,
We
you
work
party
together.
together,
Yeah.
you mingle together, you drink together, you dine together, you dance together. Do you know the extent at which they are close?
Can I say this and say this to the whole world? I don't dine with General Sibiya. I don't dance with General Sibiya. I don't go anywhere with General Sibiya. Yes, maybe there were those parties, but for me, it was not like a personal thing that we are friends. I would say the same. I would say something like that with General Ten, whom I'm always with, you know. So I wouldn't, there were lots of people in General Sibiya's house. I mean, you can ask. And sometimes we would sit with them with the